This conference will now be recorded.
So welcome to session 3 of our Employee Central Payroll. So till now, last we have seen the basic admin activities, what are the different permissions, and also I've asked you to go through those basic guides, the PTO guide. Hope you have already gone through that. Okay. So before we start, we'll be having a small quiz. This is just a surprise knowledge check for you. Let's check how you understood the topic, whatever you covered so far. So this is your first questions. Is my screen visible? The question.
I see it now, but there seems to be
Little.
what's the time on your screen? 7:04?
Just a minute. Yeah, 7:04. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's fine now. I thought there was some lag, but I'll let you know. I see the question now.
Yeah. Which
So,
standard
which
we have
roles of,
for payroll administrator?
okay, which standard roles of the payroll process does the SAP recommend for the payroll administrator? Payroll administrator, right? Payroll administrator is my alerts and unassigned alerts. Manage
Absolutely.
policies and manage processes, mostly either system admin or payroll manager.
Yes, absolutely correct. So mostly, as per SAP recommendation, we have seen alerts are always given to the administrator. He can solve it himself as in the subject matter expert. Otherwise, he can assign to his team member or who are the subject matter specialists. Okay, so you are absolutely correct. So the next one, which payroll control center process do you use to locate any errors in the payroll run?
Okay, so which payroll control center process do you use to locate errors in the payroll run? Okay, one-click monitoring is mostly for master data checks, automated locate errors in the payroll run. Automated root cause analysis, located. Mm, locate errors. I think it's B.
B for Bombay?
Yeah, yeah, B for Bombay. Or no?
No, no, no.
Okay,
Actually, it is one click. Your first guess was correct. It is one click monitoring only because that is a
okay,
kind of simulation payroll and we locate the errors at the initial stage of your payroll. Okay, logically, that will be your answer, one click monitoring or the pre-payroll process. And after that, it is closely related. The once you are getting those error, then only system will generate this alert, right? Like as per
okay,
your whatever validation rules you have written. Okay, so those are closely related. So it is obvious to be little bit confused. Okay, so one click monitoring is the actual answer. And once
okay.
your payroll has been means your error is identified, then actual system will generate the alert. Okay, then again you will be
Understood.
going for the step. Then you will be going for the step number next step, that is automated root cause analysis. Why it is happening? You will be deep diving into that alert assignment. Okay, so that is the process. Okay, so anyway,
Okay.
so the next one, which SAP payroll controls, I think, which step in standard payroll process checks against the validation rules and potentially creates the alert? It is very similar.
Okay. Which step in standard payroll process? Okay.
Standard payroll process.
Okay. It checks against the validation rules and potentially creates alerts. Okay. Okay. Potentially creates alerts. Now, is it monitoring or initiate policy? Let me read the question again. Which step in, it's a step, right? Steps are within the processes. So, which step in the standard payroll process checks against validation rules? So, checks checks against validation rules and potentially create alerts. D, initiate policies.
Exactly. So you have just means you have as you read complete the word by word. Actually, it is a step. So I have not asked the process. Okay, I have asked the step here. Okay, so for
Yeah.
that reason, it will be initiate policy. So initiate policy basically it will be check against a validation rule, and it will generate your whatever alerts are there inside that. Okay.
It was a
And
very close question, right? I mean, very
yeah,
close. So,
very close.
basically, initiate policies
Hmm,
uh, will potentially create the alerts, right? Initiate
exactly.
policies will create the alerts. However, monitoring is a name of a process itself, which
Yes,
will.
exactly. Exactly. So one-click monitoring, what we are calling, it has a three process, okay, three steps rather. Okay. Inside that we have three pro steps, and in this question we are particular about the step. We are not concerned about the your process. Okay. So you have to be very careful because these are the same similar questions you'll be getting in your certifications as well if you're planning. And another two questions I do have, nothing much. So
Okay.
which action do you perform in your payroll system assignment configuration task in the EC
Okay.
file?
Which action do you perform? Payroll system assignment. Yeah, I remember this one.
Okay.
Mm, which action do you perform in payroll system assignment configuration? Payroll system assignment configuration task and employees intro. I think it's D.
Exactly. You are absolutely correct. Correct. Only that is the thing. We directly assign a system name to a selected user. So that is your we do in the system assignment configuration. That is the only thing we do. You are absolutely correct. The last questions for today. That is your where do you provide access to the PCC for payroll manager? That is a straightforward question.
I mean, this is a question regarding permission role, right?
Hmm.
It's one of the permission. You are asking me the name of one of the permission roles.
Hmm.
It's definitely not B. It's uh, where do you provide access to payroll control center for payroll managers? That's you've worded these questions not
Yeah,
even
so if
simple.
I word things, the word little bit, the answer will vary. So we have to be very careful. And
Oh
people who
boy.
have designed the certification question, they are also very cunning, and they design this
Okay.
way to confuse.
Oh
Okay, so do
boy.
not be confused. Just think straight, and think simple.
Where do you provide access? Where do you provide access to payroll control center for payroll managers? Now I'm just going back in my mind. First, you do the uh, uh, where do you provide access? So first, you do the permission roles for payroll control center. Payrolls. It's definitely not B.
Hmm.
It's definitely not D.
Hmm.
Now, role-based permissions is a very vague term. Basically, you do that to do everything. But
Hmm.
I mean, anything which has to do with role and authorizations is through RBP.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I I don't remember what that permission role is called, but I'll go with A.
You're absolutely close to that, but exactly for this question, this actually I have asked the broad level only. So the answer
Okay,
will be your
then
RBP only. Okay, because payroll
okay,
control center comes after that. Okay, like so inside your RBP again, if you ask for any tools, so these are actually the tools kind of thing. But at a high level, I have asked. I have not asked like
understood.
which. Yeah, so that from that angle, this question have been asked. Okay, so these are some of the few questions. Even in certification, these questions directly will be getting this kind of type some simple questions. Okay, so then next, so that's just a nice warm up exercises. You scored
No,
almost.
this is really good. And please remind
Yeah.
me, Ninadri.
Mm.
I mean, your PDF is great. That 3,300 pages.
Mm-hmm.
You texted me earlier. This PPT resides from which page number on the PDF?
Okay, so let me open that PDF again. Even that
I'll
will be
bookmark on my system accordingly for future.
sure. So that will be approximately 2,400 onwards, I believe. Even I don't remember. No, after 2,500. So approximately
Your thesis at 2,400.
to 600 means it will be around 2,550 approximately. Yeah, this is one means approximately 11 assignment is actually we are now currently we are doing it. Okay, so this is your day 4 in as per this document. So approximately another 40 to 30 pages before that, around 2510. That is my lesson basic. Okay, so approximately 2400 plus something. So to be
Any
honest,
title you can tell me of that PPTs which I can search and I can reach there
actually, these are
directly.
actually I've taken the image. I just converted to image, right? So
Okay.
for that reason, it is not searchable. Those things actually it is a problem. So
Okay.
2490, approximately 2474 is it? Uh,
Four seven
for
four.
24 another 10
No,
slides before I think 24560.
no,
It is day
no.
two. Day two is 2460. 2460 is day two. Uh,
Yes.
2450 is all your certification related stuffs are there. Those cutoffs, different cutoffs. Okay. So approximately, yeah, for EC payroll, that means another 243 slides before that. Okay. So these are the demo session which you have conducted earlier. Okay. So that I had talked about. And day one EC payroll. Yeah, that is your 242 2430 you can say. Okay, two that is exactly you just bookmark this 2430. Okay, but anyway, after completion of this thing, hopefully again I'll be actually what I do till after whatever pages on from 2430 onwards, I always make a live session. So whatever this changes I do it, I embed it at the end actually. Okay, so so for that reason you'll be seeing I am using not using this PDF in my session. I use this PowerPoint. Okay, so I keep on updating this, and again I every time it gets revised. Okay, so I just update it at the end actually.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, so let's get started today. So the last lab session, any questions do you have like regarding those one click monitoring, three click? That's a very simple one. Anything you'd like to have? Otherwise we'll move ahead to the next topic.
Uh,
Otherwise,
I
anything you'd
wouldn't
like
waste time asking questions today. I have made notes though.
to?
Uh,
Okay.
I mean, in my notebook that I
Hmm.
want to touch base on certain topics.
Okay.
For example, one click monitoring is one of those.
Hmm.
Then there was one topic which I came across in Unit 2,
Hmm.
payroll tasks for payroll admin. That
Hmm.
wasn't very clear to me, but maybe what we can do is we can go ahead with your what you want to conduct today, and in
Hmm.
last 10-15 minutes we can go through some of those questions
Okay. 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 Sure. Sure. Definitely. So
because I
anyway,
don't want to get carried away with my questions,
no
stupid
problem.
questions. Let's do it towards the end of the session.
No problem. No problem. So let's get started. Then almost your part A is over. Okay. So if at this point, okay. So all of HR admin part. Now we'll be moving to the second topic. That is the second thing. That is HR H60 part. Implementing your SAP. I think there is a lag again. Just a minute. Why there is a lag? I can understand. Huh. So HRH60, that is a point-to-point integrations between EC and EC payroll that I'll be talking about today. Eh, So in this, what are the topics we'll be covering? These are the six major topics we'll be seeing. Total understanding of your EC to EC payroll integration process. What are the steps we see in the provisioning? So in the provisioning side, what are the things we have to enable that we'll be seeing? Then there are certain steps you have to carry out in the employee central side for this integration to work. And there are another set of steps, okay, that we carry out in the EC payroll side. Okay, so both the way I'll be explaining all those things in the next upcoming 3 to 4 session. And the entire pay to point replication, what are different troubleshooting in a typical project, okay, what are the things you have to do, okay, from real-time project I'll be also sharing my some learnings, okay. And towards the end, we'll be going through some of the tools which are related to the monitoring. There are different monitoring tools. There are different troubleshooting tools to troubleshoot the entire issue tariff facing. Okay. So that will be go anyway. So when it comes to provisioning setting, the first thing first, these are the four checkbox. You have to just enable it. Okay. So I think again there is a lag.
Yeah, there is a lag
Yeah, I
actually.
do not. It is 7:18 a.m. here. Yeah, now I think you should be able to see it now.
I see it, but just wanted to ask Niladri, just sorry for interruption. Today, as per your PPT, is it day 3 or day 4? I'm
Okay,
a bit
so do not
lost
go.
on the
No,
PDF.
no, no. Don't go by the day number. Okay, because that day number will vary from one batch to another batch. Okay,
Okay,
okay. So sometimes what happens, like I may take 50-minute session. Sometimes I take 2 hour session. Okay, so it will
okay,
vary from session to session. So don't go by the day number. Okay, so just focus on the topics which you will be covering. Okay, so for that reason, do not go by the day number. Okay, just go by the content, whatever the topics cover is point of view. Okay, so anyway, towards the end, we'll be seeing if anything is missed out. Then again, we will revisit. But ensure every time, whatever you will be seeing, the content it will be more improved compared to the last session. If we see the previous batch and or previous session, depending on the feedback, I, I incorporate those their feedback. Those topics, I again something is more deep focus depending upon your uh, priorities and all. Okay, so you will be
okay, no
feeling like.
problem. I'm just not able to find this on the PDF. Uh, 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 yes.
In the PDF, I think which page you're in? 2 4.
I mean, I scrolled down further. I went far up. I started from 2460, but
Hmm.
now let me see which page number. I'm at 2600, but
Hmm.
that's two further down.
2600. After that, you will be having this. Some of the things actually will be repetitive there, but it will be around approximately 2661. Yes, two double six
2661.
one. 2661.
I
Almost
see it
complete
now.
this. Yeah, yeah. So this will be a content. Okay. So basically, whenever you're in the provisioning setting, there is not much activity. Only these four things actually you have to enable. First of all, that is you're enabling the employee central payroll. Okay. So as I was mentioning, it requires a different license. Now your EC license will not work. You must have your ECP license. Second one is enable payroll integrations. Okay, so for your EC to EC payroll integration to work, okay, so this must be checked. And before that, you must have this generic objects. There are enable translation. So actually, all those things must be it requires. There is a prerequisite. Okay, that must be fulfilled. And if you're already means as I have mentioned, EC is a prerequisite means that you do not have to worry about it because whenever you're implementing EC, it must be there. That is your enable generic objects. Still, you revisit, and if this in the missing in your provisioning setting, just enable that. Okay. Third one is your enabling the payroll control center. Okay, so it requires your same thing like your generic objects and attachment manager and all. So this is the third thing you have to check means enable. Fourth one is the cost distribution. So for all of your finance posting, all of these things, okay, for those things it requires your enabling the cost distribution. So nothing much in the provisioning side. This is a one-time activity. Only for these four things you have to activate. Okay? So this is simple. Again, so throughout this learning journey, we'll be following this document. Okay, the employee sent the document regarding the documentation. We'll be following this ECP scope document, and it is nothing but this document will be talking about your what are the topics, what is the ECP is capable of. Okay, so every time it will be changing every 6 months. Okay, so we have to always follow the latest one. Okay, so from an implementation point of view, this is not very important. Only for pre-sales kind of a team or BD activities, they will be explaining what the things are there. Okay, so nothing much. So similarly, there is an RASI matrix also. You must be aware of this RASI matrix, right? So, Lokesh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So this is actually SAP offered some RASI matrix kind of stuff. Okay, so this is provided by SAP, and what SAP Cloud Ops team will be doing, and what your SAP Basis team will be doing. So those details you'll be finding in this document. Okay, so this document also
And
I'm
this is
including.
not very stable, right? This keeps changing. I
Yeah,
remember in 2016,
hmm.
what they had released initially, that has changed over the period of time.
Yeah, yeah. So this is an ongoing thing. So every in the next 6 months again you will be finding something new in this document. Okay. So it will be always delta changes will be always there. So we have to keep on learning. So nothing to
Just for
worry.
my knowledge, what's the leftmost column for?
Leftmost column in this slide, right?
Yeah, in this Excel snapshot,
Okay.
what is the
So
leftmost column?
those BAS code you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay, so these are actually for SAP's actual reference, so you can change it, nothing like that. Okay, this is just for SAP's reference. So they have whenever created this document, okay, so they have used this particular code. Okay, nothing to worry about. So you can also put a normal serial number like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and you can also add your own activity list here. Okay, so nothing like that. Hmm. So this thing is there regarding will be doing mostly you have to coordinate with your SAP basis people and your cloud ops team, SAP cloud ops team. There are certain activities just before you start this process. Okay, like similarly for each and every document, actually I have mentioned like to whom actually you will be contacting. Suppose if you are planning for a VPN connection. Okay, so here one thing you have to remember from a project from my project experience, VPN connection SAP says is a mandatory, but exactly it is not. Okay, so one thing is in the last project I have done without VPN connection. Okay, so indirectly I configured everything in the web GUI system itself. Okay, but SAP
yeah,
recommends VPN, so that you'll be able to access your EC payroll system from your SAP GUI itself. Okay, and for that SAP recommends for a VPN connection. But in case if you are not having VPN, still you will be able to manage it. So there is no problem. Okay, so it is good to have, but how to configure this VPN and all those things, you have to check with your you have to check with your client IT infrastructure team or your internal SAP based system. So all these configurations are infrastructure related. Okay, but as a payroll functional consultant, our role is like we have to check all whatever the mentions, do's and don'ts. Okay, so they have to follow the from an architecture point of view or from a process point of view. Okay, so your IT infrastructure or your client basis SAP based system, they will be doing all this activity. Just you will be playing a role of an enabler. Okay, so that is the thing here. So next one, so next one is interesting one. So SAP doesn't mention it in the implementation guide anywhere, but towards the end whenever you are getting started with your employee central payroll implementation, the first KBA, the first knowledge based article you will be coming across, you have to go through this. That is your getting started with your employee central payroll initial user. So what will be your initial user? This note you have to follow in detail. Okay, so why this is required? Because whenever you are creating your first user, whenever you are logging into your SAP EC payroll system for the first time, okay, as per the cloud policies, SAP will not be giving SAP underscore all authorization to you. Okay, so what they will be doing for you, they will be giving one initial user like CUST underscore INIT customer, initial customer, like that. So they will be giving particular this ID not to you, rather to your basis team. Okay, so what your basis team will be going to do, he will be copying this user. Okay, so just remember it doesn't have the SAP all authorization. So in the on-premise, if I compare, in the on-premise, what we used to do as a consultant, you generally ask for SAP underscore all authorization so that you can configure anything and everything in your payroll system or anything. Okay, but it's not like that in your EC payroll. So they will be giving some restricted access to you. Okay, so in this CUST underscore INIT user, once you get it, there are set of activities your basis team will be doing. Okay, so in this next 4 or 5 steps, if you see, okay, what your basis team will be doing, that I have explained. Okay, so in your general, you will be logging to your system. You will be getting 3 system access. One is your development, quality, and production for your EC payroll. Okay,
through
so
the
it will be
same
like
user ID, through the same user ID, CUST underscore INIT.
UST underscore INIT, you will be using the same user ID. Okay, SAP will be providing to you that. Okay, so you
All the
can
three systems.
so for all the sales system, and you'll be getting communication for that. Okay, so directly you will not be getting your client IT team who will be the owners taking the ownership for your entire system. Okay, so they will be receiving those credentials details in their email ID, and they will forward it to you or your SAP basis team. Okay, so from that they will be handling all the remaining things. Like they will be logging for the first time, like using the CUST_INIT user. Then your base team will be, they will be copying a personalized, means they'll be creating a user like ECP_development, or ECP_quality, or ECP_production. So whatever the authorization SAP has given in that CUST_INIT, it will be copied into the respective users. Okay, that is the concept. Okay, so that is the first activity before you start your implementation. This will be you doing, okay, from a EC payroll point of view. Then additional user as and required, okay, your basis team will be helping you in that, like by going to the SU01 transaction. That is as usual, nothing much, but you have to understand this activity you have to carry out with coordination from your SAP base system as well as your client IT team. Okay, so there are particular roles also SAP has given, like it is from an EC payroll point of view, not success factor point of view. Okay, so like they give the three types of user, that is your technical administrative users, payroll administrators, and self-service users. Okay, so how to understand it? So a self-service user, actually they will not be having the backend access. Okay, so like the employee, like suppose I'm an employee and I would like to only download my payslip, I just see my garnishment or any tax statement, okay, in the success factor side. Okay, so I do not require any other types of users. So though for those type of users, you will be giving the self-service user permissions. Okay, similarly the payroll administrator, okay, who will be doing the application customization for any kind of payroll, or it can be your payroll manager as well. So even if I'm telling payroll administrator, as it is the on-premise role, your payroll manager is also covered under this particular role. Okay, the third one is your technical administrator roles users, who will be doing entire technical configurations. This can be directly given to the super administrator of the payroll, otherwise, and as well as the consultant who will be working in the technical as a technical consultant or support consultant in the team. Okay, so these are the three different additional users you can create it. And for the security reasons, you can see the CUST_INIT is provided with a standard role. That is standard role is, you can see SAP_CLDPY_ECP_CUST_INIT. This is just standard role. For security reason, they will not be giving to you SAP_all access. So they will be giving this cloud payroll initial authorization to you. Then you will be start copying this. Then additional users will be creating it. So this will take, and this is a half day activity. Okay, so you have to carry out successfully, and you have to also test the roles before we start your configuration. Okay, without this, you will not be able to log into the system. So this is the first thing first, as I mentioned. This is a KBA. SAP keeps updating as well. So every time, whenever you're implementing, anyway, for the next 6 months, I don't think there will be any changes. So
But the
otherwise,
note number,
yeah.
was there a note number for note number, right? 2534043.
Yes, this is your note number. You have to follow every time whenever you are starting your
But
implementation.
this note gets updated, right? The note number doesn't change, but it will keep
Note,
get.
note number will not change. The only you can see the version will change. At present, it is the 7th version now. So if
Okay.
any changes is happening in the future, SAP will be updating in the same note. Only the version number will be increasing. Okay? So
Okay.
this is the first thing, first KBA you have to follow before you start your implementation. This is not like
And
the implementation guide. You will not be finding this. Okay, so this is from a project experience point of view. I'm telling. So you have to
no,
follow
this
this.
is really good. This is
Yeah,
really good. May I quickly repeat and ask one question?
sure,
So
sure, definitely.
yeah. So basically, CUST_INIT is the step one, that user, right? It
Yeah.
comes with the first time logging in. I
Hmm,
mean,
hmm,
I saw on the next slide that basic setup, which would require that consultant to change the credentials after first time logging in. And I saw those uh, uh, copy user
hmm.
in etc. Now tell
Yeah.
me this, uh,
Hmm,
with this CUST_INIT is my entrance door, right?
hmm,
To SAP or backend ECP. It's
hmm.
my entrance door for the first time implementation. It's my
Yes.
entrance door. So
Hmm,
using this, I will be creating all the other user IDs and assigning appropriately. The
Exactly.
assigning appropriate roles, the one which you have shown me on the next slide, right?
Yes.
Admin, etc. Now,
Mm-hmm.
where where is that role SAP underscore all? Because I'm sure ECP would need that role would also be needed at some point to some other kind of a important admin. So uh, or uh, CUST underscore INIT already has that kind of access
Yeah.
to yeah. I'll let you talk. You got
Okay.
my question, right?
I got your point. Exactly the same thing we have also faced in my projects, favorite projects as well. So like CUST underscore INIT, we will not be directly using, as I was mentioning. Your SAP based system will be copying this, and it will be for a limited access. Like CUST underscore INIT, for a certain period they will be giving. After that, it will not be valid. Okay. So whatever your SAP basis has created, okay, SAP basis will be having one access and for their own, and then your remaining access, they will be, it is up to them what are the access you will be giving, you'll be asking to them, and what are the access they will be giving to you. But as per SAP policy, it will not be having very similar to SAP underscore all access, it will not be having. So for that, generally any kind of authorization if it's missing again, so you have to talk to your, you have to do a lot of coordination between your SAP basis. Something is missing, some configuration you're not able to do. Even in my projects, I have seen at least 3 to 4 times I went back to my SAP basis team. This is my SU53 screenshot. I'm not having this access. So for that
So,
again,
but the question is SAP basis or the security team, which user ID they will be using this? Will they be using TEMPL underscore admin?
no. They will be using this CUST underscore INIT copy. They will be copying it. Okay. So that after copying this, they will be having this access. Okay. So TMPL admin, actually this is only for this is I'm not used in my project. So directly like in the command field, you just copying this particular user. Okay. So this is for just for a dialog user, if you can see. But mostly in my base system, what they have done, so they just copied this UST underscore INIT. Okay. Then it almost 95% authorization it was there. Okay. So then wherever it was required, they have given additional authorization to me in my project actually. But it will not be, you have to remember, it will not be having your entire SAP underscore all access like your on-premise. Okay. So that's the only thing from a security point of view. Okay.
But security
So
person will have that access, right?
yeah, security person will be having. So generally what my SAP basis team does actually, if anything is missing, then again he has to coordinate with SAP if he is facing some challenges. Okay. So generally they will be having access which I was not aware of in my last project. Okay. But
But yeah,
generally they
I
will.
understood. I
Hmm,
understood. So
hmm,
basically, I mean, here in this particular slide, I mean, it doesn't say and it doesn't need to say about SAP underscore all or
hmm,
anything of that order. I mean, I
hmm,
just brought it in,
hmm,
but CUST underscore INIT or TEMPL underscore admin,
hmm,
these won't have SAP underscore all, but
hmm,
one of these users, when they will be assigning roles and creating user IDs,
hmm.
which you have specified on the next slide, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, basically it will come after back and forth with SAP.
Yes, true. So by this, actually, after 2 and 3 back and forth, actually, I got all the access. Then I was able to configure everything in my on-premise side in the EC payroll. Okay, so that is the only thing. But you have to be very particular about this note. You have to remember, like, what are the steps you have to follow. In the next slide, actually, I have mentioned. So the further, if you like to bifurcate your roles inside your organization or inside your client environment, so like there are templates available, like in the on-premise side. One is a payroll administrator, payroll manager, payroll process administrator. Okay, so these are three different templates. You can copy it. Okay, so you can give it. Then directly you can create those roles in your EC payroll thing. Okay, so these are the three additional thing. Okay, because but in my projects actually what I did, we have not created segregated this kind of templates because it was a small Middle East project. Okay, so where what we did, so also the number of users also very less, so we didn't have a segregated this role, only the manager and administrator, we just defined two roles. Then we created all those remaining stuff. Okay, so This is the only thing you have in this technical admin side and from an admin point of view. This is the one note. Second note is regarding, so this is your second note regarding your EC payroll. That is your any kind of cloud operation stuffs. Okay. So you have to follow any kind of support related incident you'll be creating in this particular channel. Okay. So there is a particular payroll operation channel from your SAP payroll. If you are putting the ticket in any other channel, it will be delay your response. Okay. So for faster response, you have to always follow this particular channel. That is your INT CLD underscore PA hyphen PA Y hyphen OPS. So this is there is a different dedicated team which works for all this kind of issue related to the EC payroll initial activities. So they will be handling your all these incidents related to payroll operations. It can be your suppose you're facing any challenges in your client copy or any package is not installed properly. Okay, so any installation related stuff, generally SAP basis team will be anyway, they'll be coordinating. But this is just for my experience as I've shared with you, and this release, these notes also gets submitted. Okay, so these two notes will be helpful for you whenever you are getting started with your EC payroll. So we have to just process on this note.
No, this is
So
really good, really
yeah,
good. I mean, and you've done a great job putting all this info together, because
yeah,
people have it and they don't remember it, and that's what has
yeah.
happened with me. I never collected my documents, and
Hmm.
now I don't have any source to go back and validate anything.
Even I was not doing the same thing in the last, if you tell me like 4 years back, and I learned from a lot from a different challenges. So finally, we decided documentation is the first priority in any project. so so that just I learned a lesson in my couple of projects. Repetitively happened with me, and not only to me, in my team, entire team. Somebody is leaving the organization, he'll be carrying away everything, not giving proper KT. Okay, so those kind
No,
of
I'm,
challenges I
I'm
faced.
making notes also, because I've just made a note that today is day 3
Hmm.
and we
Yeah, yeah,
saw first time user creation, that
yeah.
exercise page number 2660, because it
Hmm.
will be very, and you are also picking these lessons, right, not
Yeah.
sequentially. So I'm just
Hmm.
making notes how to remember these important bits.
Yeah, yeah. So I will always recommend also you just keep a pen and paper with you always and make a note of it. Just
No,
don't
no,
go by this day number. Day number it is
yeah,
misleading sometimes. Okay, so I will try to in the I think that will be a lesson for me as well. Like in the next upcoming thing, I will not be putting any date number. Rather, I'll be putting as and when required. I'll be putting a theme across. Okay, so now till now we have seen the activation part, like from an SAP basis side as well as your SAP cloud infrastructure side. Okay, so this is the activation side from their end. Now your job will be starting from here. Okay, so that is your you will start preparing your backend system. So when I say backend system, that it is not your provisioning. Provisioning we've already activated from success factor side. Okay, so there are certain things we'll be doing, which is actually will be preparing your backend system. That is your first point will be your uh, you're activating your business function. Okay, so what are the business functions you have to activate, that you have to ensure. So the transaction code is your SFW5. Okay, so in this you will be seeing there is a series of business functions. So that is your starting from your LOC underscore CL underscore 50 till 107. So I have not put all the number here. Okay, but you have to ensure, so all these business functions you have to activate. So this is not a very new thing. Same thing we are doing in the on-premise as well for any kind of LSO, ES, MSS, all these things we're still doing it. Same thing we have to do in the EC payroll as well till 107. So the last number at present it is 107. So that you have to activate. Same thing I have taken in the screenshot, like what are the meaning of this each and every, which business function activates which functionality. Okay, so there are certain functions like if you see, like some of the functions are reversible, means that can be changed it. But anyway, once you implement it, we generally do not reverse it unless and until there is any emergency.
very quick question. So
Yeah.
this is good. All the business functions you have listed out, the ones
Hmm.
which are highlighted, what's the
Hmm.
meaning of those ones? Only those should be activated?
Exactly. Okay. So whatever you're seeing the highlighted one, so those things only will be activated. Okay. Like 88, 89, 92. And certain things which will not be activated, I'll be mentioning here, because this is I've taken one of the Australia project. Okay, so you just ignore the 69 here, SCM underscore LOC underscore CL69. This is for SCM Australia text redesign. So wherever you are seeing payroll control center is mentioned in the left hand side, okay, that you have to anyway activate it. Okay, so this is the entire list. Okay, so anyway, I'll be having this list anyway in the Excel sheet as well. I have prepared another. This is just for your system. Anyway, I'll be showing in the system as well. Okay, what are things I have done it. Okay, it will be starting
Okay.
from your HCL LOC underscore CL50. So it's very simple. It's a one-time activity. Either generally basis team can do it, otherwise you can also do it. There's nothing hard and fast rule. Okay. So once it is been
Okay.
activated, it will be looking like this. It will show this job has been started in the backend, and it will just confirmation will be getting. Okay. This is the first thing you have to do. Second backend activity will be your SICM, which will be activating your all of your HTTP services or whatever HTTP services you are having. Okay. So this again also I put it across. What are the list of HTTP services you have to activate? Okay. And what is the this is important from a certification point of view as well. They are generally asking questions like which service. This is hard to remember, but there is no way. Many people certification they ask questions like which service is meant for what is the purpose of this. So you have to remember it like the code number, last code. Suppose if it is saying ERRM, that means your error management kind of stuff. Okay, so these are list of services which will be activating from an HTTP services point of view. Okay, so it will be activating your team alert, alert management, team assignment, error management from an EC payroll standpoint. Okay, so like payroll control center library, there are payroll control center, your activities, the different UI5 related stuff is also there. Okay, so all of these things actually you have to activate. This is again a one-time activity before we go for the further configuration. If you how you can see it now in the next screen, if you are going, so if you're having a VPN connection, then you can see this screen like this. Okay, so in the SAP UI, you can see these. This is the path like default host, then SAP, then your BC, that is basis tree. Under that, you'll be having your business server pages. Under that, you'll be having SAP, and under that, you'll be having those list of services like HRPY, PCC, or payroll control center related services, and what are the remaining services for relevant for your EC payroll. You have to activate all of these things. Okay, so this is again in one-time activity, as I was mentioning. Other than that, the next one is activity in the OData services. So there are certain OData related services also you have to activate. Okay, so like this is again there is something called embedded SAP NetWeaver gateway. So there is a transaction code for that. That is your IWFND. This is again one-time activity. You can go through by this transaction code. Otherwise, you can go to this particular path, activating and maintaining services, and you'll be finding a
This is
particular
for
entry.
the API, right?
Yes, yes. So all of your NetWeaver gives just before it starts working, you have to open this gateway. Anyway, if you are working with any PI consultant or any PO consultant, then if you have they've already done it, you do not have to do it again. Okay. So if it's already activated, only thing is you have to check your payroll specific stuff is there or not. That is a PYD underscore CONT underscore SRB. This must be that. So this is a one-time activity. You can see otherwise from a SPR path as well. Okay. So if you go by this, actually I have go by this, then you will see activate or deactivate SAP gateway. Okay. Once you execute it, then system will be giving a pop-up like SAP gateway is now active. Okay. So this is before we do any kind of this enabling APIs or all those things. Okay. So you have to ensure this must be activated. Okay. So that is again a one-time activity.
And where do you search for that? PYD underscore CONT underscore SRV.
Okay, so here in whenever you are searching this particular transaction code, right? This maintenance service. Okay, so I'll be showing you in the system anyway. This is just to be
Okay,
just for
no
just
problem.
a cleaning session, like just theoretically I will explaining. But tomorrow I'll be showing you the detail, like what are the things you have to do by the system directly. So I'll be showing that tomorrow anyway. Okay. And other than that, there are certain ICF related your nodes. Okay, so there are internet, they call it internet communication framework technically. Okay, so you'll be finding all these things again, a list of services again, OData related services, and a technical service name. So generally, what I do in a typical projects, I take it give it to the entire list to the PI consultant or the integration consultant, okay, or the basis consultant. So generally they activate all those things, but I have to just make sure they have activated all these things, just check for my checkpoint. Okay. So this is again the list of entire technical service name I have provided here. So there are TCP alert manager, alert different service. So all of these are
So
services.
this is really good. Will you share with me any Excel for this? All these
Yes, yes.
uh,
Actually, I'll be
backend
preparing that.
config,
I'll be
HTTP, etc., and all
sure.
these services.
I will do that because at present what I am doing, I'm working on another document that is the workbook itself. So in that workbook, actually, I'm just preparing a sheet, and in that, I'll just checking the current release. Okay, if anything new services has came up. So after verifying that, I'll be updating and I'll be sharing it across with you. Okay? So this is the most important activity actually. So before configuration is not take much time, but ensuring this all of these steps you have followed, that is the most important activity before you start the implementation. Okay? So once you start this thing, okay, so like its system will tell, uh, suppose if you're going to activate in individual services or individual activity, okay, so system will be asking you every time, like this is a kind of screen, you'll just click yes here. Okay, do you want to activate this service? And generally you will see like ICF services, they will call it technically, okay, so internet communication framework, so that is a technical term they use it, okay, but once you activate it, then only it will be your integration will start working. Otherwise, the even if the system, if the services will be there, if it is not activated, none of your services will be going to work in your real-time scenario. Okay? So just to ensure these are the different backend activities you have to do. Then next one is very simple, like setting of your roles and authorizations. So we have predefined this payroll data source class, payroll data source instances, payroll data source user variant maintenance. So these are different authorization objects. People who are implementing the payroll and your the administrator, they must be having this kind of authorization objects in their access. Okay, so these authorization objects, again from a certification point of view also, they'll be asking the purpose of each and every authorization object specific to your payroll, okay, EC payroll. Okay, so why variant actually I'm talking about, because variant plays a major role in your entire EC payroll. Okay, so for that reason this authorization object plays a major role, and you'll be getting definitely questions in the certification. And from a basis point of view as well, they have to ensure this authorization object must be given. Okay, if anything is missing, then you will be or not able to do certain configuration related to this area. Okay, data source while designing KPI. Okay, I'll be coming across that whenever we'll be discussing payroll control center in the depth. Okay, so at that point of time, again, I'll be covering a small topic there. This is PCC authorization. Okay, so there also you'll be seeing this kind of authorization. So to build, to configure those things, you must be having this payroll data source class, data source instances access to it. Okay? So without this, you'll not be able to do those
So
specific.
this authorization object should be assigned to which role?
Okay, that I'll be coming across in the next. If you see,
Okay, I
yeah.
see. But
So it is,
okay, okay, okay.
so it is very sequential. I have maintained it. So here you can see there are the different sample roles as it will be provided to us. Like this is a backend role. I'm not talking about the front end RVP. This is the backend role. Like suppose for a backend administrator. Okay, so he will be having access to your all of your backend transactions and the supporting tools. Similarly, persons will be configuring the policy. Okay, so it may be the same person, it can be different person. The same person means same role can also there's a concept of composite role which you must be aware of. Okay, so if single role, you can be combined multiple roles, you can give the same access to the one particular role. Okay, so configuring the policy, configuring the process. Suppose if you are a process manager, payroll process manager, only you'll be having access to your those policies and processes and running the payroll, running upcycle payroll. Okay, so in the backend system also we have predefined all of this stuff. Okay, so you have to ensure these roles are attached to that particular role, and you have to ensure. And there are certain prerequisites as well. But if you are in the latest service pack, you do not have to worry about it. Okay, for each policy and each configuration to work, there are certain prerequisites. Like it must be having SP39 service pack 608. Okay, so all these things you have to ensure. And the last one is analyst. Suppose you would like to have an auditor, or you are an actually just doing the analysis part of it, the payroll, then you will be having access with this role. You'll be having access to your action log viewer. That is your important one of the important tools to check any payroll related activities or log any error. Okay, so those things, so you will be for analysis purpose, you can give this particular role to the particular person. Okay, and it will be having all of your read only access. Okay, so by default SAP will provide this role. All of your process related activity you will be having only read only access. You will not be able to edit anything. Okay. So these are different 6 different sample roles provided. You can make adjustment as per your requirement. It is up to you, depending upon you can discuss with your client and all. Okay, so these are sample roles which is provided. You can coordinate with your basis team as well as your customer. So this is regarding your setting of your roles and authorization. The next one is related technical. That is your SAML 2.0 configurations. Generally, you do not have to worry about it, but you have to ensure it is done. Your S3 basis team will be doing for you. So this is for your single sign-on stuff. Okay, so they will be doing either they will be having this identity provider. Suppose at the central level, you have implementing SAP as well as your SuccessFactors as well as some other modules of SAP, and at the organization level, suppose client is using IDP. There is something called IDP, identity provider. If the client is using, then you have to do a certain different kinds of configurations. But from my understanding, what I understood, like in my last project, they were not using IDP. They've done simple SML 2.0 basic configuration. And in the future, they are planning for, say, IDP. There is a dedicated IDP configuration, which the SAP basis team will be doing, okay, at the central level security. Okay, so they can use that for all kind of access related security point of view. Okay, so this is again a SAP basis activity. You have to ensure it must be done and it must be activated. Okay, so this is
But
again a
this
one time.
single sign-on is between what? EC and ECP, or your personal laptop and EC and ECP? Please help me understand that with
Okay.
some example.
Okay, I'll be giving that example anyway. So you can SAP, from a SAP point of view, whenever you're logging into your SuccessFactors system, okay. So for that you require this SML 2.0 configuration. From it can be an Active Directory or it can be your laptop. Okay. So from that point of view, it is required. Okay. But when it comes to single sign-on, so depending upon your rules, like whatever the sometimes it can be your user ID, it can be your email ID. Sometimes it can be only the first half of your email ID, okay, before your domain name. Okay, so for that angle, you can use those single sign-on, all the SSO integrations, everything. Okay, but here from an EC payroll implementation point of view, so here if you see in this screenshot whatever I've chosen, okay, so only thing is I've done like there is some alias name I have used, okay, in the provider name. I have used as suppose SFEDU, some alias name I have used. Suppose if you're using IDP, so there is I'm not going to that detail because IDP is a completely different implementation. So generally SAP basis team does that. Okay. So anyway, I'll be sending a document for that. Okay. So I'm just making a note of it. If you if you're doing integration with IDP, then there will be some changes in this configuration. In the backend, if you see, there is something called local provider, trusted provider, policies, name ID management in this backend configuration in the screen. Okay, so if you're using any kind of trusted provider, you can use the IDP configuration in that. Okay, that is a purely SAP basis activity. Okay, so there are two ways. One is a simple SML 2.0 configuration, and another is your integration with your IDP, whatever IDP you are using. Okay, but when as you have asked, like single sign-on, it's not like a module specific. So at the company level, whatever single sign-on applicable policy you have done it for the entire success factor, same will be applicable for your employee central payroll as well. Okay, so there's no difference in that. Does that answer your query, Lokesh?
It does, but I will not pay much attention to it because I
Ah,
think this can be dealt with some technical guy or basis guy.
ah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I'll keep in mind that
Hmm.
single sign-on is feasible.
Single sign-on is feasible. Okay, and the same thing, you have to remember two types of SML at a high level. One is SML 2.0. Another, actually, you can think of it like a soft single sign-on. You can think of SML 2.0. And IDP is actually if you are going some detailed, some suppose your company having a lot of restrictions. Okay, so then you can implement what I understood from my SAP basis consultant. That is more technical, and there is a separate like your SAP GRC consultant and SAP security consultant. They work on that. I have seen. Okay, but I have never done those detail. So anyway, if required, I'll be sharing those documentation with you. You can make a note of it. But SML 2.0, we generally this is a must. We do it. Okay, then your IDPs are optional. Okay, so IDP you can do it, and it is up to you. Okay, so this is one of the another backend activity you have whatever you will be doing. Okay, so till now whatever this is actually a missing slide. Actually, we just ignore this slide. Actually, I'm just editing. Okay, ignore it. And high level, if you see like today whatever in the typical integration, if you see like there are certain activities, certain data like from employee central, you will be having your employee related data, payroll related data, time data will be flowing to your EC payroll. And from a finance, your SAP FICO or S4 HANA Simple Finance, you will be having your cost center related data. Okay, that will flowing to your EC payroll, and from that, using your point-to-point replications, you will be using it will be replicated in your EC. Okay, so this is at a high level. You see
As
in
far
EC.
as cost centers are concerned,
Hmm.
they can reside in EC payroll also.
Yes, yes.
They will come from the external system only when
Hmm.
they are using S4 HANA or some other old SAP system for their
Hmm.
finance and other modules. If
Yeah.
customer is using success factors and EC payroll, then
Hmm.
all of your finance can absolutely reside in EC payroll, right? So
Exactly.
for that, we wouldn't be needing another
Hmm.
third interface on the right side, correct?
Yeah, yeah, you're correct. So in this example, actually, whatever I'm trying to say, like in this example, if you see EC payroll to EC is directly flowing, okay. But many of the customers what I have seen, like they already have SAP Finance in their place, okay. So from that angle, actually, I'm trying like cost center will be the because the source record of your cost center in that case will be your finance system. That is your SAP S4 HANA Finance, or it can be your SAP FICO normally, okay. So, but anyway, as you have rightly mentioned, in the EC payroll itself, also we can maintain those cost centers directly, and it will be replicated to your EC. So anyway, we can do it. So that is regarding your replication overview. Then regarding the replication process, it is very simple. Like we have a predefined programs. Okay, so this you must be aware of. Okay, so we have a 3 or 4 predefined replication program. So how to differentiate from a remembering point of view? The program name almost similar. The structure like HRSFEC underscore point to point underscore REPL toward the end. Only thing is, if it is for employee replication, it will be for double E. If it is a time off, that is your absence, that is your ABSC, and for your time set, it is your attendance, that is your ATTE. So in this way, you can remember all this programming means what are the
These
specific
two
programs.
were released during my time in 2016.
Hmm.
Absence and attendance replication. They
Hmm.
weren't present initially. So
Okay.
initially it was just EE replication. These
Your,
the last two they were released during in front of me that time. And
okay.
this is the one which is scheduled, right?
Yeah.
After asking the question from the customer how frequent they want replication to happen, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, right?
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
So
So
these
for
are
that,
scheduled. Yeah.
yeah. So these are all scheduled program. Basically, will be for the testing purpose. You can run it manually in the test environment. Anyway, otherwise in the production environment, once everything is stabilized, you can set up this with a variant, and also you can set up this with a batch, this SM36 batch job. And similarly for cost center, also we do have a program like is your ODTF underscore RDPLCC. Okay,
So
so
this
this is a
cost center is from SAP to EC.
this is your SAP to EC, yeah, ECP to EC, yeah. That is integration program you have to execute it.
Okay, understood. And all the first three are from EC to SAP, and cost
Yeah,
center is from ECP to SC, ECP
yes,
to EC. Okay.
ECP to EC, yes, true, true. And these are the different, anyway, I'll be showing this program tomorrow. So from theoretically, these are the different replication program, how this program will be looking like, and what are the different prerequisite for those programs. Okay, so configuration ID, anyway, compound API, I'll be explaining tomorrow. What is the significance of compound API and how it
Screen are
works.
you at?
Sorry.
Which screen are you at?
Actually, again, there is a second bits lag again.
Because I
So yeah,
don't see any prerequisites or compound, whatever you mentioned.
no.
I
It
was
is already there in the screenshot. If you see, there is something mentioned like compound API configurations. Did you see that?
okay, okay,
That I was referring. But anyway, those detail I'll be covering tomorrow. What is a compound API and what is significance of that from integration point of view. Okay. And the prerequisite actually I have mentioned in this. If you go to the notes detail of this particular replication program. Okay. So what are the things are mostly this configuration must be there. Okay. So just configuring of your compound MPI query. Okay. So this is again a step in your EC Payroll integration configuration. There I will be covering. Okay. But from an end user point of view, from an admin point of view, you have to understand there are three or four different programs you have to go through. Okay. So this we'll be seeing tomorrow. Okay, so all this detail we'll be seeing tomorrow how to configure this connectivity. Okay, so at present we are not going for Boomi. At present mostly we are dealing with directly CPI and all this configuration. So this architecture and all I'll be taking you through tomorrow. Okay. So any questions before we wind up? Okay.
no,
For
today
this,
was really good. I've got few questions.
yeah. Just
Let
tell me.
y- you were saying something. Go ahead, please.
No. I was just telling, because I'm also making a note in my notebook. Whatever questions you are having, just to make a note of it, and I will try to answer it. And otherwise,
Yeah. So, you made a note for that Excel also, right? Excel for all those
for
services,
Excel,
etc.
I have make a note of it. Like for all of your services and what are the business functions to be activated. Just I'll be making a recent update and I'll be sending across to you. Okay, so that note I've
Yeah,
already made it. And the
yeah.
second note I have made it, that is your IDP related and SML more detailed documentation. That again,
I mean, I wouldn't need what basis or that technical guy does, but
hmm,
if someone can provide me,
hmm,
I mean, I understand as a layman what single sign-on is.
hmm,
Basically, you change your Windows or
hmm,
front end user ID and you change your password, and
hmm,
in all the other systems, it should get uh, reflected automatically, right? That's
exactly.
what single sign-on is. But
Hmm,
from this ECP, that SAML 2.0, from that point of view, if someone can draw me a picture and make me understand, okay, this
hmm,
is your Windows user
hmm,
with this single sign-on concept, EC password will also get changed or EC
hmm.
will also get accessed, ECP, you know what I mean? Just layman
Yeah.
terms. I don't want to go into that technical details
Hmm, hmm.
because that will never be my area.
Exactly. Same for me also. Even I was never interested to go deep dive. Even someone asked me in my previous project, so you should do it. I told why should I do it rather because it's not my area. So you just tried that. But anyway, single sign-on it is not going to change. So the same. It is not module specific. Okay. So if it is working for EC, it will be working for EC payroll. Nothing. There is no difference. Okay. But from SML 2.0, I'll try some visualization. I'll just check it internally, and some visualization is there. Some overall high-level architecture, something is there. I will try to pull that, and I will definitely help you in that. Okay? That I also noted it down. And
Yeah.
third point.
My second question is, it's a bit interesting, the second one actually.
Hmm,
I don't know if we have spoken about it or not.
hmm,
Now, what we are seeing today, or what we saw towards the end of the session, was
hmm,
these P2P replication programs, right?
hmm.
These ones,
Yes. Hmm,
these programs. And of course, tomorrow and henceforth, we will be drilling more into the details.
hmm,
But tell me this, Niladri, uh,
hmm,
these programs are also, these are not just available in ECP, these are also available in the latest EHP or latest support pack,
hmm, hmm,
SAP on premise. Is
hmm,
that
hmm.
not right?
Yes, you are correct. Absolutely correct. But
But SAP doesn't allow us to use it.
exactly, you are absolutely correct. Okay, so what
Yeah.
that is why they are giving it. So from my understanding is, suppose tomorrow they are going away with, suppose they are going to. currently whatever payroll you are using, it is not a purely cloud payroll, right? Okay, so suppose in the future they are not going away with P2P. Okay, so they will be completely doing in the payroll in the EC payroll itself. Okay, so for the maybe their vision, but from that
Say that
angle,
again. Say that again. Why?
so that is the just from an SAP point of view. I'm telling like in the future they are planning to go away with P2P. So whatever P2P,
Go
not very
away with P2P, meaning get rid of P2P?
get rid of PTP. So it's not very soon. At least they will take another minimum 2 to 3 years minimum. Okay, that I'm talking about. It's not
But how
what I
will data get replicated from EC to ECP if there is no
so
P2P?
that is not yet official. It is just from one of the colleague, and just I was having a chat with him from SAP point of view. Okay, but it's not very soon. So for that
No,
reason, it
but
might.
because
Hmm,
I know something else
hmm,
about that idea, but I don't think P2P will disappear anywhere. You need to replicate the data, right, from EC to ECP. How will
huh,
the replication happen? Either you would need that
hmm,
other thing, HCI, HANA Cloud Integration, or whatever it's called now, or you would
huh,
need Delboomi or some other kind of middleware to do the replication.
hmm, hmm.
But uh, uh, how will you replicate the data between ECA and ECP if there is no
So
integration?
for that, so for why I'm explaining it, because at present it is not official, but not very soon. As I was mentioning, it is in not at present not in the official roadmap. Okay, so even I am not sure about their what exactly the detailed roadmap, how it is they are going about it. At present, it is not the right time to talk about it. But what I understood, like one of the session which I've attended in the Success Can Connect virtual session, they were explaining those details. There are many things will be coming up. They will be replacing certain things. In those scenarios, they are planning. They didn't explain much. What will the means? What will replace the PTP point-to-point replication? But that is not very soon. Okay, so anyway, but I will explain you in later on, like what exactly. Even I have to go to that video again. Okay, what exactly they meant to say. Okay, but
Sure, no
not.
problem. I mean, that is absolutely fine. Please take
Uh,
your time.
uh,
But
uh,
uh, I'm still unclear with this
uh,
whole idea. What
uh,
you are trying to say with uh, P2P
uh,
getting disappeared, and how
uh,
is it related to
uh,
my initial question that why are
uh,
these programs is still present on the on-premise side and SAP doesn't let us use it for on-premise. You know what I'm saying? So please do
yeah.
take your time or make a note and get me an
Okay.
answer because I
Sure.
have been curious.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are two sides to this question. One side is if you have on-premise, then SAP doesn't let you use these P2P programs. They say that use HCI. Is it still called HCI or it's called something else?
HANA Cloud Integrator, they call it HCI only. Yeah, HCI.
They
SAP
call it
Cloud
HCI,
Integrator
right?
also.
For
SAP Cloud
HCI,
Integrator.
yes, for HCI you have different set of programs. You don't have these ones,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't use the same integration mechanism. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so but the question still persists
Mm-hmm.
that why these programs are present on the on-premise side. Maybe on the roadmap, SAP wants all the on-premise users to integrate with EC using P2P. Maybe that could be a reason, but that's my wild guess. I would
Okay.
want more proper, vetted uh, response or what's the rationale behind it.
Okay. Okay. Sure, definitely. So, Lokesh, I will go through it and I'll just check it and I will definitely commit an answer to it. Okay.
No worries in your own time. I mean, there is, and this is not a showstopper for us in any way. This is a very
Yeah. Yeah.
generic question, isn't it?
Generic. I understand.
Uh, and the other one, Niladri,
Yeah.
at some point we will be going in details about one-click monitoring and all these bits, right? Or it's done and dusted.
No, no, no. The on the one click and all again that will be coming into whenever we'll be talking about the payroll control center, right? Again, we'll be having a
Yeah,
deep dive in that. Just for
good,
time
good,
being,
good.
I have shown it just front end. I have not we have
So,
learned
so
not.
it's so it's more like a trailer what we have seen, but
True,
the
true.
movie is yet to be played.
Yet to start, yet to start. The more interesting topics are coming, and I will be explaining on all those details. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Anything else before we
Uh,
wind up?
but yeah, in my PDF, the questions which you had asked me earlier, I don't
Hmm.
see them anywhere.
Yeah. Recently, I have added it because the last person which I am talking, actually, he has more focused on the certifications. Okay, so he was just
No,
searching for
I'll be
job.
happy if you share those details with me also,
Okay,
some certification related questions or some hacks, those bits. I'll be
sure.
very happy if you share those as well.
Sure, sure. That will be already. I'll be sending to you. Okay. So anyway, that I'll be sharing with you. No problem. So I'll be. What I have done in my last batch, last session, what I did, I've just segregated those questionnaire what I had just topic wise. Suppose I completed a particular topic today, and immediately or 2 to 3 topics on a particular theme. Okay. I just pulled out those questions and put it there so that I'll be asking. It's a kind of knowledge check for that person as well. So I will just sharing the entire list of whatever questions I do have. I'll be sharing with you.
Okay,
Okay.
no worries. This is good. So for tomorrow, do you want me to read anything or just make a note, or what do you recommend?
Tomorrow it is a for tomorrow. You can start with your this. I will tell the page number.
Or maybe not. Let's not read anything because
Okay.
uh, I'll be occupied with my office work when I wake up
Understand.
until
Okay.
evening.
Mhm.
So, but I can still try to, turn few pages on this PDF.
Okay. So what you can do in this PDF, it is good if you can go through the content part at least. What are the steps? Do not have to go to the details about it. Even the content itself, table of content itself, 4 5 pages. Okay. Just to
So
see whatever.
what happened to chapter 3 and other bits? Because
Hmm,
last time around you made me read chapter 1 and chapter 2, right? And
ah,
first 72 pages.
ah,
Uh,
ah.
Now we are at page number 455.
Okay,
So
so you're referring that slide, right? Your page number slides and all. So if you see, there are certain things. Actually, it is not for us. So like some basic activity. Okay, so for that reason, I told you in today's session itself, this step you have to just ensure if it is like SNPC based SAP router connections. And there are certain VPN related topic, right? So those topics, it is good to go through, but as a functional consultant, ideally we do not go through those, read through those documentation because these are purely technical, and your SAP based system will be taking care of those connectivity, how those hosting will be happening, those point to point, those pinging of your this all those network connectivity. Okay, so for that reason, if you see this, even if it is in my configuration guide, okay, if you want, I can take you through, but it is nothing much here, like how to set up this application server, instance number, SAP router string, all this maintenance. Okay, so nothing from it. These are more infrastructure related. Okay, so for that reason, I just told you like this RFC connection, and these are more from infrastructure side. Okay, nothing to
so
go through.
so maybe what we can do, these ones you can park aside and just have a note, and one
Okay.
day
Hmm.
let's cover all these topics at a very
Okay.
bird's eye view level, not in deep
Sure.
detail, but
Okay.
you can at least tell me that Lokesh,
Hmm.
all these bits, because
Hmm.
I used to possess a good integration knowledge also. I've
Hmm.
worked on plenty of interfaces throughout my
Hmm.
career, but it
Hmm.
would be good to grab such details or information. At least for
Hmm.
my reference, I would know where
Hmm.
what resides in your PDF, because your PDF has got immense knowledge and too much
Yeah.
of good content. But it
Hmm.
would be
Hmm.
important to know where what information is.
Okay, okay. So generally what I do, look, is like once I complete a particular section, just like last time I mentioned, right? For an admin side, you have to follow these 3 documents. Okay. Similarly, now we have reached the part B, right? So once we complete the part B, okay, or in the middle of the part B, what I will do, like there is an half an hour session for this. Like I'll be telling you, just be a pointer. Like these are different section you have to follow, Lokesh. Like these are my presentation slide. That was the topic we have covered till now. And these are topics which I'll be just also setting the priority. Whenever from a functional point of view, what are they have to prioritize, and which topics you have to prioritize, and which topics you can coordinate with other people or collaborate with other people like SABSS team or your client IT infrastructure team. Okay, so I'll be mentioning those details. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, so anyway,
Okay.
we'll be covering that. So yeah, that is the thing. Anything else?
No, this is good, and I will not go into more details, but I keep noting down questions in my notebook.
Sure, sure.
Just
That will
in,
be
I mean, maybe not for today, but for
uh,
future, and maybe
uh,
some of those questions will get answered automatically. So hence,
yes.
I'm just holding those questions back for now.
Okay. Mhm. Sure. So then we'll wind up today, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Welcome.
Niladri, for your time. Appreciate that. And we'll catch up tomorrow, same time.
Yeah.
Have a
Sure.
wonderful rest of the day and take care.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Same to you, Lokesh. Good night. Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye. Welcome. Bye.